Hey, it's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and we have the details in the 2023 Chevy Colorado. Just let's go quickly. I have tons of details. I got 14 pages of press releases, a whole written story. I'm going to go through all these details. But if you skip the rest of the video, just know this. For the first time since I can recall, this is really a mini Silverado. For the first time I can recall, there's so many similarities here. It is crazy. So let's get to the video that they sent me, the B-roll, show you what the truck looks like because, well, that's what you want to see, right? What does it look like first? And then we'll get to the details on engines, no diesel, sorry. We'll get to off-road variants. We'll get to all the stuff going on with this truck and some changes, including rear AC vents in the back. Shocking. Who would have thought you needed that? Wow, finally we get it. Stuff that makes me nuts. But this is what they sent over. This is the official details from Chevrolet. I get this footage. So we have 5 trims. We have Work Truck, LT, Trail Boss, new for the Colorado, Z71, and ZR2. And there's actually a special ZR2 Desert Boss edition as well. So here we go. The left is the Trail Boss. The middle is Z70, or the middle is ZR2. The right one, the silver one, is a Z71. The overall truck has been lengthened by 3.1 inches, but they moved the front axle 75 millimeters closer to create a shorter overhang on the front to give a better front angle of approach on this truck. You have 4 different interior setups. Think like colors and stitching, 4 different setups. Work Truck's a little bit different, and all you get ZR2 and stuff, you get more unique styling inside. On the trucks, underneath the hood, they took the 2.7 liter inline 4-cylinder from the Silverado and they put it in. Bam! And we have 3 different outputs, which we'll get to in a minute. I'll tell you more details about that. But basically, it's one engine, 3 different tunes, all running on regular fuel. Thank God, Chevrolet. No premium fuel required. Absolutely awesome. What's interesting, though, is that the Silverado comes with a 10-speed automatic transmission. This one doesn't. They're doing what they're calling their second-generation 8-speed automatic transmission, which is a little interesting. They've had some issues with the 8-speed, but maybe they've improved it. And what they said was that because of the torque band or the power band on the 2.7-liter turbo, they didn't need the extra 2 gears. There was no benefit to putting the 10-speed in there. There was no additional improvement with 2 extra gears. So they retuned the 8-speed and reset it up to work well with this truck. You can see some differences there on the front. Fascia is different. This is a Trail Boss. You can tell because it doesn't have a chin. That's what I think about Trail Bosses. They just don't have a chin. It's just all the way down. The ZR2 and the ZR2 Trail Boss all have different bumpers and front fascias as well, for better off-road performance. Again, I'm going to say off-road a dozen times because there is a lot to talk about with off-road. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go right here. I'm going to pause for a second. So this is your new interior. Looks just like Silverado, right? So you have the 11.3-inch digital display, which is Google-based. You have some different cool drive modes in there as well, as far as you have a Baja mode, a train mode. They have a Toho mode as well, and they have an overlanding mode, and those screens will show you different details on that screen, some graphics, kind of cool stuff there too. Remember, that is a Google-based operating system, so you can actually log in, and you have when I used it in the GMC Sierra last week, I had my Google Maps, I had what else I have? Google whatever, all the different tech in there. The shifter is a console shifter, and it's moved a little more to the right. The drive mode button is next to that. That center console is interesting. The center console actually has a friction hinge. You can actually open it and close it at different variants as far as different degrees, and it will hold that. There is also a big wireless charger in front of the shifter, which we'll get to in a minute. And so the different trims, like I said, have just different styling cues. They have the round air vents like you see in the Blazer. You'll see that in the Colorado. So they kind of took the pieces from different brands, put them together. This is your Z71. This one, I really like this one. I think this one is pretty sharp. I don't know colors. They didn't announce any colors yet. One thing you may be noticing is you're seeing a lot of crew cab trucks. Well, there's a reason for that. That's your only choice. Only choice is a crew cab and a 5-foot 2-inch bed. So crew cab short bed basically is what they're doing. And you can see, this is just driving on pavement, which is boring. Let's fast forward for a minute and get to some cooler footage. Okay, this is Z71 interior. I want to make sure I show that too. So, I mean, you can just see the chrome around more places, a little bit different styling on there. Again, I wish I would have saw this in person. They had us do a backgrounder yesterday. It was all COVID protocols. We couldn't be there in Michigan in person. I'd love to see this truck in person for sure. And you can see, I'm going to go right here. I want to stop. And you can see to the right, you can see the shifter, and to the left is the drive mode. So it's kind of interesting. So the shifter's offset, the drive mode button is closer to the driver, and the shifter is more towards the passenger. Now, a little bit different look on that one. And then it does show, I thought it showed the wireless charger here in a minute. I'll make sure I point that out. So, because that's usually a problem. Okay, come on, make a fool out of me here. Okay, so let's look at this interior a little bit closer. Boom. So cup holders, and then we have the drive mode to the left, and that button below that's electric parking brake. It's new for the Colorado. They call it a segment exclusive. I don't recall that. I don't know. In full-size trucks, we've had it for a while, but it's interesting. There is your piano keys like you normally do with a GM product, and your big wireless charger down below there as well. And it's charging. And then there's your drive modes. See? And then there's different stitching on the seats depending on different trims. Those are getting your different trim differences. But let's get to this guy. The big blue ZR2. Okay. Yeah, stitching seats. All right. This one is the Desert Boss. You can tell by it's got a little bit different type of raised on the hood, and it's got the bull bar and the sport bar with the sail, they're calling that, on the back of that truck. And so this is the Desert Boss. You have a 3-inch lift on the ZR2. You have a 2-inch lift on the Z71. And then this one has 17-inch beadlock capable wheels. You can see them on the outside. And what's cool, those beadlock capable wheels, you can see the hood raised. Those are the same bolt pattern you have in the Silverado. So you actually can swap some tires around as well, which is pretty cool. Six lugs there as well. And then, like I said, this is the Desert Boss edition. You can see the sport bar, that sail is what they call it there. And this one has all of the cool drive modes. I want to look at one more thing real fast. And so off-road bumper and front fascia, sports bar, sail bar, roof-mounted light bar, underbody camera. I don't know if we see it in this footage, but there's a camera underneath the front axle, and you can actually see it on your screen actually going over stuff. So you can actually see the camera. It's reinforced, looks like it's bolted on, got some piece of thick plastic on top of the glass so you don't get that interrupted. And we can see that special little stripe on the back, the Chevrolet kind of stripe on the back there. Unique Desert Boss decals and emblems. And then that is a 33-inch tire, diameter off-road tire. The other trims have, I think, 16-inch tires, and they're not 33s, basically. You also have selectable front and rear electronic locking differentials. There's a special cast control arms. And if you look closely, and some people have pointed this out, the rear shocks, which are the Multimatic DSSV, which is from the ZR2 already, have been moved more outboard, and they said it's better for wheel articulation. There it is. There's your Desert Boss kind of styling there. There's a new designed high clearance front fascia, including cutout corners and the Chevrolet flow tie. So if you saw the ZR2, the bow tie in the front is just kind of an outline, and that way you have a little bit more airflow going into the vehicle. How much does that matter for cooling for the turbos? I don't think very much, but it is, well, fairly cool. So there's your ZR2 interior. Again, you can see a little bit different chrome, a little different styling, a little different colors inside. So that's going to be different. They're calling that Artemis interior color with stripe colored accents. Here's your different drive modes: tow haul, terrain. You're going to have normal, you'll have a Baja mode, and you'll have a overlanding mode. These change your throttle response, brake response. They'll change a little bit of dynamics as far as the truck goes. But yeah, I think that interior looks pretty darn cool. I like that a lot. I want to go now to this is the article I wrote on pickuptrucktalk.com. I'm going to have a lot of details here. I'm going to reference this for a minute because make sure I have my details correctly. So looking at this, I want to talk about these engines. So the engines, as you can see on the screen, have different outputs. So there's a 2.7 liter turbo, same inline 4-cylinder on all four, on all the trims. But you have different horsepower and torque and different max trailering. You can see where they're standard and on Work Truck and LT, standard on Z71 Trail Boss, available on Work Truck and LT. And then the high output, 310 horsepower, 430 foot-pounds of torque, 7,700 pounds of towing, which is pretty massive. Standard ZR2. So when you do the higher output, what's interesting with this stuff, it's just a tune. They said they didn't do anything, no premium fuel, anything like that. Just tuned it. You will get peak horsepower, 5,600 RPMs on the standard, but on the plus and high output, it comes in at 3,000 RPMs. And the torque, I put it there, I thought, the torque is all about the same. So, excuse me. Our horsepower is 5,600 RPMs. I'm going to read what I wrote. And torque is much the same, except for plus and higher output comes in at 3,000 RPMs. So faster torque on the higher output engine and plus higher output engines. So it's going to be faster torque and hit more on the max peak band, and you'll have about the same horsepower setting. So when you're off road, when you want to get into the corners, really want to do some rock crawling, whatever, you don't want that torque off the line speed, and so this truck's going to feel really fast. It's just, yeah, it's going to. I want to look at one more thing. This is the dimensions. As you can see, the wheelbase and the off-road approach angle. Again, as you move up, you can see that the off-road approach angle and departure angle and the breakover is increased as you go ZR2 and Trail Boss. Again, Trail Boss is the 2-inch lift. ZR2 is a 3-inch lift, right? So Trail Boss gets 2-inch lifted suspension, wider chassis. So the wider chassis is the control arms and the knuckles, kind of push that stuff out. They have more wider track, so you have a little more pushes the track out. A 3-inch lift and the automatic DSV shocks in the ZR2. It also comes with a bed liner and unique badging, and then the flow tie we talked about, and the lockers, front and rear electronic lockers on the ZR2. We have the new interior, we have different cameras, and then the different drive modes I talked about as well. Small improvements, and I think I got a photo of this. I will try to put on the screen. Let's do that right now because they didn't do a good job of putting this photo on this screen. So I think I took a screenshot of it. Let me see. I don't. I'm sorry. Basically, what it is there are a cool new thing on the tailgate, and so what it happens is the tailgate, when you fold it down, there's like 2 panels there they've made with plastic in that tailgate when it's down. If you reach forward and that panel that sits near the bed, it actually folds up and it's 45 inches wide and 4 inches deep, and it's got a drain plug in it. So they showed on their footage, which is odd, they didn't put it in my footage. They showed a guy with a saw in there, some gloves, maybe some jumper cables and such. And so it's not a massive amount of storage, but it's kind of cool because that pocket isn't, it's usually just the tailgate, and then you have the pocket going across, nothing's there. So they actually cut that out, a little pocket. I kind of like it. And they had one thing they showed where they put like ice and pop in there. I'd use something else, but they put that in there, and then you could actually drain the plug and drain it out. So I thought it was kind of a cool thing. There's also rear seat AC vents, which I think I mentioned before. Really cool. I'm really happy they did that as well. And I want to say there's one more small improvement. They get all the Chevy safety assist stuff on there as well. Your lane departure, that kind of stuff going too. But does basically the details on the Chevy Colorado and what's new on 2023 model year. So let's talk about pricing mile per gallon because they haven't announced it yet. Their hope is to start building this. I should say hope. Well, maybe it is a hope. Their hope is to start building this in January of 2023 in Wentzville facility. We're supposed to get pricing mile per gallon closer to that. We'll probably do a first drive, probably for media like me in November. If you want to know first drive, more details, probably gonna be in November, see that stuff. And then there'll be order books probably open in December, start building in January. Hopefully being in dealer lots sometime in March, depending on the chip shortage that we're going in there. And you'll have that be able to choose from. A few details, again, no diesel. They said basically that the 2.7 liter turbo had such a good power band that they really didn't see any benefit to going to diesel. They didn't need it anymore. And frankly, I think from a business standpoint, they were like, why offer 3 different engines? They used to have a 2.5, they used to have a V6, they used to have the diesel. They offer one engine now, much simpler, much easier from a business standpoint. I get that. RIP diesel. I like the diesel a lot, but I just said for what they did, what they found through their testing, they didn't really need it, which is, sad. I am a little sad there's no like big work truck look to this truck. They do have a work truck trim, which I should put this back on the screen. And so when I get to this, I can show you the photos because I put a photo gallery together. Okay, so here's the gallery. So let's start with this one. This is the work truck exterior. And I like that work truck exterior. You can see the steely wheels. You see the front end looks just like the work truck you have in the Silverado. I definitely liking that. And so there's a, let's go Z71. This is a Z71 interior, a little bit closer look at this. And you see the different styling. You see the red stitching there. You see the different look and then an interior. And then the Z71 exterior is right here. And so you can see that Z71 exterior. I don't think I have pictures of the LT interior, but I have LT exterior. There's your LT exterior, which I like as well. I just like a finished grill. I don't know why. I don't know. People like different things. I like a finished grill. So that's the LT. If looking at the ZR2, I have 2 ZR2s. We'll look at this one. This is your ZR2, and it's got the bull bar and the sport rail. And then I believe this is a ZR2 Desert Boss because of those beadlock capable wheels, but they didn't clarify that. We have the Trail Boss exterior, which again looks very, very similar to the Trail Boss in the Chevy Silverado. You can see the same kind of look there. And then I want to say there's a Trail Boss interior. There it is here. There's a Trail Boss interior, and you can see the styling there. Oh, and by the way, you see that sun coming through? Yeah. First time ever they're doing a sunroof in the Colorado. Not a moon, not like a full dual panel moonroof. They're doing a sunroof. So that's cool. You finally get a sunroof in that truck. And then the ZR2 interior is going to be this one here. And you can see, again, just different styling. I think materials and stitching is basically your differences between these exterior interiors. And again, this is on pickuptrucktalk.com. If you want to see all these different styling and interior up close, this is what it looks like. So I was going to say, I was looking at my notes real fast. Sorry, hang with me just a minute. I want to make sure I covered all the details because I did the briefing Q&A and there were some questions. And so, yeah. Also, one important point, 2-wheel drive only on the work truck and the LT. So 4-wheel drive is going to be throughout the lineup. The shock support, it runs regular fuel. The tailgate step, which I'd be able to show you. It's frustrating, all the pictures of that. And yeah, the train mode actually offers one pedal driving, they said. So if you have the train mode on, you just have to use the throttle and the brakes will stop you pretty good. And then one side note for those fans of auto start stop, which is nobody. It is on when you turn on the truck. You have to turn it off every single time if you don't want to use it. That's just how they're doing it. EPA credits for that auto start stop. So they're big fans of that. But that's what I got. Those are the details on the 2023 Chevy Colorado. Put your comments down below. What do you guys think? I'm sure you're going to have lots of viewpoints on this. Make sure you check out the videos over here, website down below, and Pickup Truck Talk on social media. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you down the road.